Hey everybody, it's Sean here. In Elkton, Maryland. Uh, Trying to fish a little bit this Saturday. It's a beautiful day. Getting ready for church tomorrow. I'm gonna take a peek. About to walk down the creek. Just trying to fish with artificial worm. It ain't working too well. It's still a little bit chilly and stuff. There's a hole down the way with catfish in there. I've kind of made a kind of a personal vow, seeing as I'm going on a weight loss journey and stuff like that. I'm going to keep obviously all processed foods to a minimum and store-bought things to a minimum, unless I can be a freegan. You know what I mean? Eat for free what I find in the dumpster. But yeah, I get whatever. I'm going to try to at least catch or kill something once a day. Try to feed myself. We're going to see how this goes, but I'm sure as the spring leads to summer, you know what I mean, it'll be a lot easier. Fishing license and hunting license obviously are needed as well. It's $30. It ain't no big deal. But yeah, man, beautiful day out here. Like I said, Saturday evening. I think it's probably about 4 o'clock, maybe 4:30. Yeah, check it out. It's beautiful up here, very tranquil. Having a good time. Just had a couple. What do they call it? Divine, not meetings, but couple things that shows me God's fingerprint in all my mess that I've made. A couple brothers hit me up. One brother's giving me a guitar. Thank God it's an electric, which is normally what I play. Since I'm starting this YouTube channel, it's all coming together. The Lord blesses anything that we set our hands to do. A lot of people, there's a lot of misinformation and wouldn't call it false preaching, as more of like religious kind of preaching that you know what I mean, unless everything glorifies God, or unless everything has the name of Jesus on it, or unless your heart is in the right place all the time, and you're constantly this and constantly that, and almost darn near mind control, then God doesn't bless anything. And if you're sinning in any kind of way, which obviously the whole point of sanctification is to get rid of sin in our lives, but the blessings of Abraham are upon us. Everywhere that our feet tread, that place belongs to us and simultaneously belongs to the Lord. He blesses anything that we put our hands to do. A man's heart devises his own way, but God devises his footsteps. You know what I'm saying? He puts him in His will, even in the midst of them doing their own. At certain times. Yeah, but a beautiful day to be alive. Thank the Lord. I am thankful to the Lord to be alive, which for a long time I couldn't say that. Yeah, here I'm gonna switch out my bait and stuff. Get rid of this worm on there, which I knew wasn't going to work to begin with. Plus, I'm in a shallow part here. I've been living in the same area for right around 10 or 15 years in Elkton, on and off. I went to Texas for a while, Hot Springs, Arkansas, which was super nice. Yeah, but I'm gonna walk with you down to the catfish hole. We'll see if they're down there. I just came down here 2 days ago. To first thing, I'm gonna show you my little garden I'm trying to make too. I don't think it's gonna take in too well, but I came down, planted some plants, got some broccoli going, some watermelons down here, pepper plants, tomato plants. I don't know if they're taken or not, but yeah. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, you see the water. Yeah, plan on it working a lot better than it did. Obviously, it's not a raised bed, and I am in the middle of the woods. So it is, there's a lot of deer out here and stuff too. But, the Lord protects the crops of the righteous as well. That was one of the main ways that people of Israel knew that they were doing well with the Lord. You know what I mean? Their heart hadn't turned hard towards him. They had bountiful crop harvests. You know what I mean? They didn't have to go to their pagan gods on every high hill and in every valley under every green tree. Their joy was increased as in the time of harvest and new wine, and it's a proven fact that God, to judge nations, he uses pests to destroy. He breaks the stay of water and the staff of bread, locusts, etc. All obviously it's not so much to punish, I don't believe, but the very first step in falling away is forgetting. That's why the children of Israel fell in the wilderness. They forgot God's character. They forgot that he brought them out of Egypt and all the mighty signs and wonders that he did to bring them out. He laid waste every other god, and Egypt was the main powerful nation at that point. And every powerful nation absorbed the other's gods, you know what I'm saying? And then exalted their own, which they've all been the same gods, the same fallen angels being worshipped, which I don't want to get too deep into that, because I've done, deliverance ministry and all that. There's a time and place, but, but, we can't forget who God is and who his character, and what his character is, That's a one-way step to being told at the end, I never knew you, Always forget, too, that all things work together for good for those that love God and are called according to his purpose. And the only way that we can make it through hardship, you know what I mean, and persevere and overcome till the end, like Christ says, has to be through a constant remembrance of God's character and who he truly is. It's the only way. Any other way, you get bitter, just like the woman with Ruth, and what, I can't remember what her name is, off the older woman who said that God had cast her out in the midst, you know what I mean, and her husband and her sons had died, and etc. Something started with a B, I can't remember exactly. But, it's said in certain, what is it, like Judaic Talmud sort of based things. They studied her lineage, and she was her seed line was the lineage that ended up giving birth to Goliath, in which David obviously slayed. So, that's what, obviously, bitterness is a giant within itself, if you talk in a psychological kind of context, which anything psychological is, at least in part spiritual, especially when the spirit has to triumph over the soul, you know what I mean? Because that's the whole point of it. Point of everything, our faith even overcomes the soul. And then our soul is slowly being transformed into Christ's soul, having the mind of Christ. We have the mind of Christ already, but it's our option to keep the mind of Christ, or to go back to the mind of the flesh, the mind of the bitter, the mind of the hateful, the mind of the idolater, the mind, you know what I mean? And it's a moment by moment basis. That's why we're told not to think for tomorrow. It's just right here, right now. And then we have the promises as well of Beatitudes, you know what I mean? Take no thought for your lives, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, or what ye shall wear, where you shall stay, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to add to nor take away, but these are anything that is basic needs, you know what I mean? Our basic human needs of survival, God will provide. That's something I've also recently, I got away from some of these promises that are related to sonship and his fatherhood and his loving nature. You know what I mean? The love of God. I forgot who God truly was and how much he loves me. I tried to be more like a suffering servant, or like a a doulos. You know what I mean? A self-chosen servant, slave. It's that word there. Even in that context, it's just somebody who's there constantly with you. And a self-chosen servant, slave of the days of Paul or the days of Israel, right? They would at least have their master that they loved being next to them and talking with them and taking care of them day by day. Obviously, we have never seen him yet. We love him, and that is the proof that Christ dwells within us. So I don't know, it's kind of a lot there I've been thinking about. I'm trying to get back. I was doing that whole identity thing for a long time, and I just got real fed up with it. I was hitting a roadblock because I never really loved myself. Check them out. You see them? I don't know if you can see them. But, yeah, we're coming up to the catfish spot now. There's a earthen wall over here, cut through time by the water, and somebody living up there. Nice little kind of farmhouse. I think there's a spring over here that comes out, unless it could possibly be excess wastewater from their home. There's no smell or anything, so I'm guessing it's probably a spring of some sort. Yeah, but I lived up here in these woods for on and off 10 or 15 years, had a wife out here. Sadly, she died 4 years ago. Drugs. I still love her. I'm getting over it though, as much as I can, But yeah, man. So down here fishing. I brought my Captains of Crush 3 down here with me too. I've been working steadily on that. It's a hand gripper. Like I said, I do arm wrestling and weight sports, or strength sports. I haven't done much of it recently, except for the hand training and some arm wrestling. Arm wrestling's kind of like a halfway lazy sport, kind of. As long as you're not upper echelon, super good or whatever. You can just work out one arm if you want to, pull a giant pumpkin. But yeah, here's the catfish spot. It gets pretty deep after about 3-4 feet. It probably hits like 7 feet maybe over there. I don't know. But yeah, I got a little piece of chicken. Rip me a piece off, stick it on this hook, take this worm off. Yeah, give me a minute here. 1 second. Yeah, I'm really thankful because I don't have many friends. I burned a lot of bridges in my life. And, sorry, my belly's popping out there. Damn, I told you about 390. But, yeah, the other night, when I made the video stating that I was going to start making videos again, I just got like a breath of fresh air. That's what it felt like to me. And I knew it's something that I should be doing, because I don't have many friends right now. Like I said, I recently was traveling, kind of going around of a vagabond a little bit. Sorry about that. Out of a vagabond a little bit, Had some issues with certain churches, certain beliefs. A lot of things were bordering on Gnosticism to me, which scared me greatly. And I noticed some beliefs that I was having were more based in Gnosticism rather than, the love of Christ himself. Oh, already got one. Yep. Haha. Got him. Am I hung up? I know, there's a fish on there. Oh, he did pop off. There are catfish down there though. We're about to get them. My using a cheapo collapsible pole right now. Has a nice Abu Garcia. See, it's a nice Abu Garcia reel on it. There we go. But I don't. That's something else. I don't know how to switch this. Is that how? No. Yeah, but he's out there chilling now. I did have a bite. On there, but it got off. And if I'm going to continue making these videos, I'm probably going to get a body cam deal. Maybe a tripod thing with a small camera. I'm a cheapskate. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to make it work with the least things I have, or with the least amount of money I can afford. But yeah. Oh, what I was saying to begin with, I got a breath of fresh air, man, and I felt like could literally, you know, speak to people and be able to speak things out and have myself hear them again and restore some of my faith. You know, I got real depressed for a while. Real bad. Tempted by the enemy, day and night, buffeted. Man, it was bad. Still am being, you know what I mean? But we are more than conquerors through these things that we suffer here on this earth, and we will receive a crown, you know, when we overcome this, and overcome just like Christ did. You know, stay firm till the end, man, as always. But yeah, man, I'm just chilling. I'm gonna bring a little seat out here now that I know that there's more catfish out here. This is just gonna be my little hole. See what I can do. I'm also been looking at some edible plants and everything. Mainly protein, you know, protein-based things. Obviously that's what we need more than anything. Carbohydrates and sugars. There's so many of them out there, anyways. I got a bunch of birch trees out here. I'm gonna try to plug a couple of them. I'm probably gonna cut my hair too. That coming down to nothing. Coming down to the bitter end there. But yeah, I'm gonna try to plug a couple of them, get some birch syrup. You know what I mean? Going to see how that is. Boil some down. I got a bunch of them trees out there and out here in these woods. What else was I saying? Yeah, maybe after I catch a fish out here, if the Lord wills, do a cooking video, something like that. And she might bury it, you know what I mean? Put some coals on top of it and bury her. Let it cook, you know. Do old earth and cook, old Chilean, Brazilian way. Yeah, man, but I'm coming out of this system. You know, I've been beaten around by ideas, you know, over and over and over again, and I lost touch with some things that were very important to me. But I'm learning how to live with them, you know. And I'm learning how to steward these things a lot better now. Yeah. Now, you know, I'm trying to love myself, you know, and I don't exactly like talking about all the time, but, you know, just not so much love myself, but realize that I'm worthy because He says that I'm worthy, and that the things that I say and the things that I think do matter. Maybe not to everyone around me, because 90% of everyone, probably 97% of everyone in the world wants to kill us. You know what I mean? Or, oh, here we go. Yep, got a fish. Oh, he didn't take it. Come on, baby. Don't pick it back up. I think these catfish, I gotta let it